In this 444, I'm going to be sharing with you 4 of my favorite apps that I seem to spend most of my time using. I'm going to give you a whistle-stop tour around my phone. So the first thing to notice on my home screen is that it's purposefully black and white. When I turn my phone on, I don't really want it attracting my attention. Now you'll notice I do have a couple of little red badges on there, and I've recently turned them back on. But for most of my apps, I have no notifications switched on. And for the apps that are the biggest destroyers of my time, I have them tucked away so that they're not in my vision to distract me. Hey there, welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, my name's Hugh and I'm a retirement specialist and money coach at Proposito Financial Planning, based here in the heart of the Cotswolds. And on this channel, we look at the tools, strategies, and money habits that can help you make the most of your life force, and that's your time, your energy, and your ability, so you can live a life with more meaning and more happiness. If you like what we're doing, hit the like button, click subscribe, and don't forget to ring that notification bell so you can find out when we release our next video. So on my homepage, there's a couple of really cool ones. So the first one that I tend to use a lot is Notion. And Notion is a note-taking app that we use in work as well as I use personally. You know, we're building our knowledge base from our existing system into Notion. You know, we can drill into lots of things, and it's all nicely organized. We can edit and amend things, so it works a bit like a wiki, and Notion can do a whole load of functional things. But the great thing is every time you start a Notion page, it's completely blank, and you can fill it however you want. You can have as much or as little detail in there, but you can make it visually appealing. And I'll give you an example. If we just go into our Vision and Traction Organizer, which is like our one-page business plan, you can see that visually looks quite appealing. For example, we can go into one of our core values, and you know, it looks pretty nice. So that's Notion. The other one I use every day is Readwise. Now, Readwise is a really good idea. So I read a lot on my Kindle, and I make notes and highlight bits. But the problem then is making notes is great, but it's how do we resurface those notes? How do we find them again? How do we bring them to the top and reread them to remind ourselves? Because what happens with our memory is when we know something, our memory will degrade over time unless we remind ourselves with some form of spaced repetition. So by having Readwise collate all my notes from my Kindle and all my highlights from my Kindle, and it fires them back at me in a bite-sized chunk every day. So it gives me 6 quotes every day, or 6 notes from the books that I've read in the past, and resurfaces them for me. That might prompt me to do something with those notes. So we'll go into the daily feed, daily review. So this one's from Seth Godin's Purple Cow. That's a note that I made. And you get the chance to keep it or discard it. So I'm going to keep that one. This one I like, from Gary Taubes, Why We Get Fat and What to Do About It. We don't get fat because we overeat. We overeat because we're getting fat. Now I'm going to favourite that because that's a great one. It's a completely different way of thinking about it. Because we're getting our fat locked up in our system from our bloodstream, then we don't have as much fat going around our bloodstream for energy, so we tend to eat more. It's a great idea. Another one from Gary Taubes, one from Leaders Eat Last from Simon Sinek, another great book. And top 5 regrets of the dying. People change because they want to, and people change because they want to and when they are ready. That's very similar to when the student is ready, the teacher will appear. And a TED Talk one. And it'll do that for me every day. And I can obviously go in and see all the individual highlights, but that's a great app that I use all the time. And then this is this screen is my main screen. It's got a lot more color. It's where the apps I use every day, lots for work, are all stored on this screen. So for example, I've got my finance folder with my banking apps, and there's a couple of pages of those. Entertainment is listening and reading, so it's not watching. That's somewhere else, because watching stuff you can go down a rabbit hole. I'm sure you've all been down a YouTube rabbit hole. Apps for work. Now this one I use every day in work. It's Focuskeeper, and all it does is the Pomodoro technique. And if you're not sure what the Pomodoro technique is, I'll leave a link in the description to a blog that I've written on it and the value of it. But essentially, it gives you the ability to set a timer so you can do focused work for a period of time. At the end of that timer, then you set a break timer, and then that cycle just repeats. So the Pomodoro I have set up is 25 minutes of focused work, and then I get a 5-minute break. Now 5 minutes is just enough time for me to make a cup of coffee and get back to my desk. But it's too little time for me to pick up my phone and start scrolling through social media, because I'll end up going down a rabbit hole. So by the time I finish my focused work, I'll pop downstairs, make a cup of coffee, and come back up again. I've probably got another minute to go on my 5-minute break time, by which time I'm sat at my desk getting ready, and then the next 25-minute timer will go. Now, when you've completed 4 lots of 25 minutes and 5 minutes, so 4 lots of half an hour, you get a 20-minute break. Time to stand up, go for a walk, do whatever it is that you need to do. And then that cycle just repeats. And I found it a really, really good way of being productive and really focusing in on the 25 minutes. Now, I don't stick to it rigidly. If I'm in a state of flow and the 25-minute timer ends, I'll just keep going. I'll just keep going through the 5-minute break and into the next period. But I find it really, really useful to remind me to get my head down and to work hard. My productivity is massively improved if the first thing I do when I sit at my desk in the morning is get this app open and start it. If I don't, I can get derailed by all sorts of stuff. So I really like this. It's called Focuskeeper. And the great thing is you can change these times really easily. So I can set a 30-minute timer and change the break time as well. So you can really customize it to suit what you like. There we go. There's my home screen. There's the main screen where I spend a lot of my time. And this one is where there's some time wasting apps. And you can see I've got my socials and there's LinkedIn there. But you'll also see that I have to swipe to see WhatsApp, where there's the 3 notifications. But I can't see there's WhatsApp notifications there. And I can see there's WhatsApp notifications on there. I've only just turned that notification button on for WhatsApp because I'm now got a position of responsibility in a rugby club, and there's a couple of WhatsApp groups there where there's constant posting and there's stuff that's time bound. But before that, I would check it maybe every other day, every day, if I thought about it and got around to it. So that's something that I do. You can see I've got Twitter here. I need to move that, so I'm just going to edit my home screen. I'm going to pop that in there, and I am going to pop that away from my second screen. So we're done on that. And so now I've got rid of Twitter. So if I do want to go into Twitter, I've got to go into my socials, and then I've got to swipe to find the Twitter app to load. The final apps that I use, they use a lot, and actually this is the 4th one, but I'm going to go through 3 of them. The first one I use every day is Sleepcycle. So this monitors my sleep patterns every day, and I've been using it every day for a long time. I find it really useful. So last night I went to bed too late. I didn't have anywhere near enough sleep. So I went to bed late, 22:56. I woke up at 6:05. It took me an hour to fall asleep. I kind of missed my sleep window. I was only snoring for 7 minutes. Now on snoring, I do have a problem with snoring, but I have found when I don't eat bread, carbohydrates, my snoring does decrease. So 2 weeks ago, I stopped eating bread and flour and refined sugar. You can see my snoring, so 54 minutes, 23 minutes, 3 minutes, 34 minutes, 10 minutes, 1 hour 23, 24 minutes, 51 minutes, hour and 25, hour and 26, 2 hours 18. So now we're into 1 hour 6, 1 hour 45 and 44 minutes. Now that was when I stopped. So before that, 1 hour 8, 2 hours 7, 1 hour 45, 2 hours 14, 2:23, 2:11, 1:47, 1:58, 3:10, 1:47. You can see significantly more snoring when I was eating bread-based products, wheat, essentially, and refined sugar. So scrolling through to now, 3 minutes, 3 minutes snoring on Sunday night, 23 minutes snoring, 54 minutes snoring, 7 minutes snoring last night, which is unbelievable. And it does record the snoring, and it does store the sounds in there, and you can play them back. I won't play them back just in case it's me sleep talking. The other app I use every day is Calm, which is a mindfulness app, and I use it for helping me go to sleep and meditations. So I use a whole load of things on this app. There's loads and loads of stuff. I really swear by this one. And then the final one in this little folder, my wellbeing folder, is my what's the word? It is my intermittent fasting app. So I try and do an intermittent fast every day. So I'm on a 16-hour fast. So when I'm doing a 16-hour fast, all I do is I try and eat my evening meal round about 6 or 7 o'clock, and then I don't eat again until 16 hours have elapsed. So for me today, that elapsed half an hour ago. So I'm kind of half an hour in, and now I'm in a fat burning stage. So I've gone past my the 16-hour window, and now I'm going to just burn in fat. So I'll try and stay in this for as long as I can. And I do use this every day. It's an evolving app. It does cost money, this one, as do Sleepcycle and Calm. But I use this one every day. And if I decide I don't want to do a 16-hour intermittent fast, maybe I'll change it to a 13-hour fast, in which case I'm still over. Or I could say, do you know what, I'm really feeling this, I'm going to do 20-hour fast a day and do a bit of a cleanse, and I've still got 3.5 hours to go. As it is, as soon as I finish this video, I'm going to be driving my daughter down to Wales so she can do gymnastics training, and so I will probably hit a 20-hour fast. So those are the apps that I use every day, and I hope you found that helpful. I'm happy to share. If you've got any questions or comments, leave them in the comments below. If you like this video, I'm sure you'll love some of the other videos that I've done on the 444, and there'll be a link to a couple of those on this screen. Until next time, take care.